So I did make the decision that before I go ahead and do all the priming on all of the ribs and everything to attach to the main spar, I've decided that I am going to go ahead and get all the parts ready for the rear spar attachment as well, because it's not a lot of extra parts to prime, really, to put all that stuff together. I mean, the rear spars themselves are pretty big. But then it's just a handful of additional parts. So it just kind of makes sense to go ahead and knock all the priming out on that stuff at the same time that I'm getting all these ribs done. And that way I just don't have to mix up two batches and go through the process twice. And the assembly of the rear spar, it's literally only 3 pages in the plans. So it goes together pretty quick. So I figure go ahead and get everything knocked out, get it all prepped, get it primed. And that way, once I finish the assembly, putting the ribs onto the main spar, then I can just move straight into the plans and go ahead and knock out section 15, which is attaching the rear spar to everything. All right, so let's get busy doing that. And once that's all done, we'll come back after priming everything and we'll start the assembly process on the whole wing. All right, so when I was getting all the parts together for the rear spar assembly here, I was kind of getting everything together. These are the aileron brackets. Initially, it looked like I only had enough part to basically do one aileron because you're supposed to have 4 of these little guys. 2 of them are for the outboard aileron hinge, and you take this little part off of that, and then the 2 for the inboard, they stay on there. But I only had 2 of these. And then for all the other parts that get assembled with it, instead of having 2 of each, I only had 1 of each. And so I actually reached out to Vans. I sent them a support request. And then I remembered that I had received a package, a service bulletin package with all of my stuff when the wing kit came. And I set it aside because initially I was working on the wing spars and then working on the wing ribs. And I wasn't at this part yet. And I remembered that this service bulletin was actually for the rear spar. So I went and I pulled that up, and it has all the parts that I need. And the reason that it's done separately is there was a service bulletin that came out, and basically they were finding some cracks in the rear spar itself where the aileron hinges attach. And so to address that, basically what you're going to do is the inboard aileron hinge is basically going to get beefed up with a little bit of extra support there. So in my plans, the reason I only had 2 of these and 1 of each of these is because the service bulletin is going to have me use the original stuff for the outboard aileron hinges, but the new stuff for the inboard aileron hinges. So let's get going on all that. Right now, next step, lots and lots of stuff to deburr, smooth out, the usual. So as usual, the process begins with making some cuts, like trimming off this part to make the spacer for the outboard hinge brackets, separating some pieces for the aileron attach doublers, and finally separating some angle bracket to support and attach the inboard aileron brackets. From there, all the parts are deburred with the 3M wheel and some small files until everything is ready for initial assembly process and match drilling. As I sat down to begin some of the initial assembly, I noticed some strange snoring sounds that seemed to be coming from under the build table. Her sister likes to keep me company in the garage as well. So as I mentioned, the inboard bracket assembly for the hinge brackets, those are being done off this service bulletin, and then the outboard will be done off of the original instructions. So what I'm doing right now is just going ahead and taking the service bulletin instructions to go ahead and build the more beefed up version for the inboard aileron hinge bracket assembly. The first steps here are to align and cleco all of the parts together. So those assembled, the next step is to go ahead and final drill all the number 30 common holes. And then the step after that is to go ahead and draw a line right here using this edge as a guide, just to go ahead and trim that little piece off. So I drew the line first, and now we'll go back and final drill all these number 30 holes and everything. Looks like some of these are already matched to size, but definitely the ones that are in this material need to be final sized. The plans call for some flush rivets in a few locations on these hinge brackets, so I'll circle those so I can countersink them in my next step. Similarly, some of the holes in the doubler brackets will also need to be identified for countersinking for flush rivets. After disassembly, a drill countersinks in the holes in the hinge brackets. Countersinking the holes in the doubler brackets requires a slightly different approach. So because the Microsoft's countersink cage would get in the way, these angles will just have to be countersunk a little bit at a time, kind of freehand. So just a trial and error approach. It's basically just a process of taking it down a little bit, test fitting, and then taking it down more until it sits down in there flush where you don't catch a nail on the edge of it, but not so much that it's below the top surface. Next here, I'm just trimming the edge of the doubler bracket called for in the service bulletin plans to line up with the angle of the hinge bracket itself. So now that the inboard aileron bracket assemblies are done up to this point, repeat a similar process here for the outboard aileron assembly. Basically just Cleco all these parts together, and then we'll final drill the holes that are in there, and then I'll mark some holes here and countersink those for flush head rivets. The doubler plates for the rear spar will need to be match drilled to align with the holes already in the spar. To get the alignment right, lines are marked on the plates and then used as a guide to align the plates with the existing holes. The doubler plates can now be clamped to the rear spar using the lines as a guide. Once all the holes are match drilled, the last step for this part of the spar, where the inboard aileron hinge will attach, is to outline a hole that will later be cut out to let the aileron pushrod actually come through. The doubler plate at the end is simply aligned with the end of the spar for match drilling. The holes for the aileron push rods need to be cut out. To do this, I drilled some holes at a few key locations and then used a Dremel wheel to make a rough cut. I then switched out the tip for a 60 grit sanding wheel, which very quickly removed the rough edges and excess material down to the line that I drew. Next, I used the 3M deburring wheel tip to produce the final smooth edge. If you missed how to make one of these, I'll post a link in the description below to one of my earlier videos covering this. Finally, this rear spar doubler plate will eventually be paired with the rear fork doubler, and together will support the rear spar attach bolts. The hole for that gets up drilled to 11/32 at this point. After final assembly of the spar, the hole will also be carefully reamed to its final size for close tolerance bolts. So I'm kind of doing things a little bit out of sequence here. The next step that I had to do before attaching the rear spar here and match drilling all that stuff was to go ahead and reattach all of the actual ribs to the main spar. In the normal process, all of that stuff would have been riveted and bolted together permanently, but I've decided to kind of delay things so that I can do a priming of all of these internal parts at once. So went ahead through and reattached all the ribs to the main spar, and now I've got the rear spar attached to all of that, along with all of the doubler plates at all the ends. And so now the last step is to kind of match drill all this stuff, and then I'll do some countersinking where appropriate as well. And then everything comes back apart so that all of this can get final time deburred and then prepped and primed. And then I'll go back in the plans to the previous step, do the final attachment to all these ribs, and then the final step in this section of the plans, which is to do the final assembly on the rear spar. And then I'll have a wing skeleton done. So one of the places where we're kind of deviating from the plans here, because of this service bulletin that came out relating to some cracks that they were seeing in the aft spar right here where this inboard aileron hinge is. One change, obviously we've got this more beefed up version of the aileron hinge bracket itself. That's attached on there. And then in the normal plans, what it calls for is basically just clecoing the hinge bracket on here and then riveting that in place. But per the service bulletin, what we're going to do on the back side here, I've actually got these two plates that are going to go together basically like this, and those are going to go on the back side of that hinge bracket. So what you're actually riveting together here, you've got the beefed up brackets here holding the aileron hinge bracket in place. That goes attached to the back side of the spar itself, and then you're doubling that up additionally with two more pieces of bracket on the back side of that. So that's going to add a lot of structural integrity to it, and I guess hopefully avoid getting any of those cracks back here in the aft wing spar. And now it's time to final drill all the holes where the rear spar, including the doublers and hinges, will attach to the aft end of the wing ribs. I opted to use a reamer here instead of a drill bit just to make a cleaner hole. Where the doubler plates are attached, the flanges of the rear spar are now twice as thick. As such, the holes need to be countersunk here for the wing skins. instead of dimpled. Some of the holes in the rear spar doubler and the doubler fork are also called out for flush head rivets, and so those need to be countersunk at this time as well. So that's got it done for the left wing. All I've got to do now is take all this stuff back apart and then deburr all the holes that we countersunk and match drilled and all that. And then I'll dimple the flanges here on the rear spar, and then everything's ready for priming. So yeah, that one's almost done. I'll get started doing the same stuff on the right wing, and then we'll prime it all, and then we'll put the whole thing together. Well, that completes all the prep for the final assembly of the rear spar and all of its components. In the next video, I'll cover some of the key aspects for the priming process. I made this a brief standalone video at the request of a few people from the comments. After that, you'll get to see me rivet this whole thing together. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.